life gets so busy? It just seems like there's always places to go, always things to do. It seems like there's always something to do at work, and there's always something to do at home. And of course, there's always things to take care of to get ready for Mongolia. It seems like there's always something to do. Sometimes I find my mind is just filled with all of these things to do, and eventually it just wears me out. I don't think this is what God intended. It seems like I get so frustrated not being able to get everything done. I just find myself hurried and stressed. I don't think this is what God intended for us. In fact, when I read the Bible, it looks like Jesus is not hurried. He looks like he's busy. There's always people coming to him. Disciples are always asking questions, but he doesn't ever seem busy. He doesn't ever seem hurried. In fact, he teaches us not to worry and not to be anxious. I just read a book recently called Practicing His Presence. Really good book. And the authors just talk about how to practice God's presence and fill your mind with God throughout the day. And it just occurred to me recently how much my mind is filled with all my to-do lists and things I need to get done. And I was just confronted with the fact that sometimes that becomes my God and it becomes my master. So I guess I haven't really figured out all the answers to how to manage my time and be more efficient at it. But I have learned that if I want Christ to be my master, he has to be filling my thoughts and not being consumed with all my to-dos, because Jesus is a much better master than my to-do list. Another thing I've been thinking about is politics. It seems like every time I listen to the news, they're always talking about the primaries and who's going to be the next presidential candidate. And I don't know, just honestly, it just seems like leaders disappoint and the government disappoints and doesn't come through on a lot of things. And so in thinking about this, I wonder sometimes if we don't give political leaders in our government roles that should actually belong to Christ. I just think it's interesting how the early church declared Christ as Lord, which is inherently a political statement setting Christ up against Caesar as Lord. And so, in this political season, in this election year, let me encourage you to look to Christ, who has all authority, who is the head of his church, and who will keep his promises. Sometimes people ask me, how big is Mongolia? Well, this is a map of Mongolia I have on my wall, and if this was laid across the United States, Mongolia would reach from Washington, D.C. over here to Denver, Colorado over here. And that expanse is filled with just under 3 million people, and just under 1 million live here in the capital. So it's very sparsely populated. This edition of Mongolian Tidbits has been brought to you by a Canon camera, and also brought to you by my fingers. You can count on us. Some of you might be wondering, why Mongolia? It's far away, it's halfway around the world, it's cold, there's no Starbucks. Well, the main reason is, It wasn't me that picked it. It's kind of a God's doing. And if you haven't heard about that story about how God called me to Mongolia, please go to the top of the screen and click on my story page, and you can read all about how God called me to Mongolia. So that's the main reason I'm going to Mongolia. It's definitely not Hawaii, but it does have its advantages. There's a lot of good reasons to go to Mongolia. Let me tell you a couple of them right now. One of them is because Mongolians are incredible evangelists themselves. They love to tell about Jesus. They love to share with other people. In fact, I was just reading this magazine, this missions magazine, and it was talking about how Mongolians have the highest ratio of sending out missionaries. In fact, they have 222 missionaries. They have 222 Christians for every missionary they send out, which is the highest in the world. So it's a good investment to share in Mongolia, because they're going to send other people out, and it'll multiply. Just to give you a comparison, the United States sends out one missionary for every 2,148 Christians. So we need to do a little bit better. Another reason to go to Mongolia is it's a very strategic location. It's in Central Asia, and so the Mongolian Christians are going out and sharing the gospel in surrounding countries. Another good reason to go to Mongolia is that the people there are very open to learning about Jesus. Most of the people will gladly listen to you, unlike a lot of people here in the States who have become very jaded towards Christianity. Mongolia just recently come out from underneath communism, and so there's like this huge vacuum there, and they're looking for something. They're looking for something to have hope in. There's also another good reason, let me think of it. There's so many opportunities in Mongolia. Every time I talk to missionaries in Mongolia, they're always giving me another idea, or they're giving me something new that I could go into. The opportunities there are endless, where I could do ministry at. So those are some good reasons for going to Mongolia. There are plenty more, and if you want, I can give those to you later. Update on finances and how things are progressing for Mongolia. It seems like things are going slow right now. Nothing really new or exciting. So if you know of anybody who's interested in supporting a missionary going to Mongolia, or willing to pray for somebody going to Mongolia, then please let them know, or let me know, and get me in contact with them. I'd gladly talk to them. I hope things are all going well for you guys. If you have any comments on anything I've said, please feel free to go down and comment on it underneath this video. You can click on the comments, and I'd be glad to dialogue with you and email with you and talk to you about anything you want. Or if you have any prayer requests, please feel free to give me those.